Hi, good afternoon. Well, today we're going to see all the concepts I've learned on project evaluation and how could I apply them on a simple barbecue with my friends. So let's see what we would do. Now we start with the project charter, and this has an objective. In order to be more original, I wanted that my barbecue it's more centered towards a hamburger topic. So that is, I will organize and perform a hamburger focused barbecue event, but in this case at my clubhouse, like of my neighborhood, not at my personal home, due to the fact that there is grill space and also a pool, which is very cool. um, I would invite about six of my closest friends, and it's basically that everyone has a good time. The food is very fresh, it tastes good, and we are able to set the equipment and everything very simple. Now, what does it include? Like, actually, obviously, the food, the clubhouse, the grill, very simple budget system. Let's not overcomplicate. It's a barbecue with friends at my clubhouse. It's not like a very big event, just six of my friends. Obviously, the ingredients of the hamburger, vegetables, cheese, the charcoal for the grill, for example. But what does it not include? This is very simple. It's not a very professional event. So that is why I'm not including a dessert, for example, or a professional chef, or I don't know, professional entertainment, musicians, something of large scale. No, it's very simple. And also, there is no after party because it's at my clubhouse and it has rules. It's not at my house in which they can stay and being there. Now, the stakeholders would be me, obviously, the project owner in this case, six of my closest friends, which I later will introduce them, the grocery store, in which I buy everything, the neighbors. Even if I don't mention them, I can't affect them negatively with this project. Private security and clubhouse administrator. Now, my success criteria, it's based that there is no burn patties. Like, I want everyone to have very good hamburger. Nobody needs to forget their swimsuit because I'm doing a pool party. They need to swim, enjoy before we prepare all the food. No accidents involved. Grill must be clean because later on the fines take on everywhere, and everyone is at least able to enjoy one hamburger. You know, that is like the minimum success criteria I'm choosing. Now let's go through my WBS combined with the CBS. The budget we're going to later on analyze it, but as you can notice, I already have the values there. Now it's very simple because it's a barbecue. I don't need that much of a planning. So that's why first is like basically confirmation, reservation of the clubhouse. Let's create a small shopping list so I know what to do. Then on the second day, or third day, it depends. On this case, on the second, I'm basically shopping everything. So I need to be prepared. Let's shop the beverages, the food, the grilling tools, so I can take on this project. And then it's just on the same day preparation and setup, organize the clubhouse, clean it. I know that it's reserved, set up the grills, season the patties, boom, that's it. Execution, very simple. Prepare the parties, serve food, enjoy, and the aftermath. That is the cleanup. Now, I need to be careful with the cleanup because there are many risks that we are going to analyze later involved with them. But it is very simple. I have there the reserve that it's about 10%, 11%, so that we don't have any problems in case we have any problems. Now we pass on the Gantt. And this is very interesting because my Gantt is divided in hours, as you can notice. But why? It's divided in hours because the project has a duration of just 4 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the same day, Saturday, as my objective stated. Now, as you can see, obviously the confirmation takes a lot of time, but I'm writing them at 12, for example. And then I just go to shopping. Well, I reserve the clubhouse. I created my shopping list. I can do it at the same time. It's very simple. And then I basically, on a day before, I buy everything. And that's why I have more activities on Saturday because it's when I basically prepare the before of the party, well, of the gathering of the barbecue. I prepared hamburgers basically. We eat and we clean. So very simple, but it's divided on hours, different to many GANs, because if not, it would be like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and it would look very, very simple. But this is like a much structured breakdown. Now we go to the schedule, and I attach the link so you can visualize it better. But we can notice that there are many activities that we can also do at the same time. Like, for example, I have 2 hours, more than 2 hours, to buy beverages. That's an example. While I'm doing the while I'm buying the burger ingredients, I'm buying the grilling essentials. So as you can see, my longest path actually really makes sense because it's all related to the hamburger, which is the main topic of this reunion. So that is why it goes from the guest list to the shopping list, by the burgers, I season the patties, etc. That is like the main priority if you are noticing. That's why beverages like come after, or the organization of the clubhouse, because yes, I can do it, and it's also very important. But I believe it's more important the creation and the shopping of the hamburgers. And then we take on our budget that I know it looks quite simple. But why? Because I believe if you would probably think, but you should have fixed costs because you are losing light, etc. at the clubhouse. Yes, but it's not from my expense, because on my neighborhood, on my personal neighborhood, they don't charge you anything unless you break something, or like you exceeded the hours that they give it to you. But since then, it's only the units and the price per unit on our shopping list. Let's just all buy. Well, I will buy all the food, the beverages. That's why I put ground beef, the buns, cheese slices, tomatoes. Everyone needs to have a minimum of one hamburger. That is my objective, and the grilling essentials. So it's very, very simple. A very, very simple budget. And at the end, I have my reserve. My reserve was calculated from the 11%, if I'm not mistaken, or 12% of the shopping. So that's why I have 207.72. This is all in pesos, and so I have a final budget of 1,938.72 pesos, which is actually pretty good for a gathering of six close friends. Uh, this is all I'm buying, like me personally. Now, the procurement plan happens before. I know I put it after, but well, this helps like knowing why I'm buying this, and I'm basically justifying everything. So, for example, I attach the lettuce, the tomatoes, because I want to have some fresh toppings, like some alternative options. Sometimes there are some of my friends that they like the hamburger with just lettuce, like just lettuce instead of a bun. So I need those fresh alternatives. I also need to season the patties because sometimes they don't taste as good. That's why I put all the seasonings there. Bag of chips. Before we started eating, we need something like to entertain us. Sodas, beer, bottle of water. If I'm on the pool, I want to have something safe to drink, something which they can't find me for. So if one wants to drink, well, being close to the pool, he can drink a glass of water. Well, not a glass, but a bottle of water. Now, if he wants to have a little beer, he should step a little bit aside so I can like stop the fine. Obviously, all of this like makes perfect sense on why I'm doing it, and I attach the explanation there. Now, on the contract type, it's just a fixed price, because there is nothing like variable. I just bought it and that's it. If I would contract like a chef, for example, that would be the cost reimbursable. Or if I'm doing labor hours, I would be the time plus the materials. But in this case, it's just a purchase and that's it. Now, the risk management. It's very interesting. I just want you to have a look very fast, but let's pass to the top five most negative risks that present the worst case scenarios, let's say. The first is grill fails to light due to a strong wind, and this is very high. I attach you so that you can visualize it better why this could happen. Like, no, the value that it has. So if you can see, it has a 16, and you know this can really happen because sometimes the wind is very extreme. Now let's get back to this. So basically, I would preheat it before 5, like 4:35, when the wind is not that not that harsh. And if not, let's cook the hamburgers on my home. That is the advantage of having the clubhouse. But that is the contingency plan. My main action would be, let's preheat before so that we don't take the risk. Let's avoid that this could happen. Then undercooked food or burnt patties, that would be very bad because, like, we have a strict budget. So use a thermometer. Let's calculate, let's mitigate the risk, and let's see how much, like, can we mitigate that. For example, a hamburger is burnt, so that's why I'm doing that. If not, let's redo the patties with the backup meat. That's why I have my reserve, which is not the best case scenario, but it's a contingency plan. Fridge space insufficient, it's very simple. I will pre-plan a fridge space. Let's mitigate the risk. Let's not make it that hard. And keep decayable food on the cooler with ice. That is a good contingency plan. Personally, I really like it. And then, not enough trash bags, trash overflow. I would basically bring double trash bags. Very simple. And stains or mess not clean, leading to a fine. That is one that personally uh, makes me nervous. Is ask the manager of the clubhouse to how clean it needs to be. Now, here we are avoiding the risk because I don't want it to happen. So I want the conditions in order that we can avoid this risk. That is why our contingency plan is, well, okay, maybe the manager didn't tell me exactly. Let's clean it as good as possible as we can and let's stay late. Now, on the communication plan, it's very simple and it's very different to other communication plans. Why? Because here it's all physical interactions. The only time I'm using WhatsApp or email, it's when I'm doing the confirmations for my event, for my barbecue, and email just for the administrator to be a little bit more formal with him when I'm communicating with him, if I want to have the clubhouse for a day. And but the same is like all the purchases with the grocery store. In that case, you can see how I specificated butcher shop, HEB. It's a face-to-face interaction. And also something very interesting, and that actually it's very accurate, which I like it because I can visualize it better. It's that some of my friends have the capacities to help me on certain things. On this project, we didn't did any of the racing matrix, but if we would have, I would attach the personal um, characteristics in which my friends are very good at. So, for example, Diego is very good at the grill. Like, he's from Monterrey. I know this is oddly specific, but it really helps. Now, that's why Diego, my guest, would help me season the patties, preheat of the grill. Like, that's why I'm putting. There is a reason. I'm not putting random names. At the end, you will see who is who. And that's why, for example, Hector is my best friend, so that's why the serve food and drinks, he would help me with it. The store leftover food and equipment at the end, it would be me because it's my responsibility to do that. And I would, for example, in communication type, there I would have a planning note so I know what to do. So this is overall very simple. Now, on the quality plan, this one I actually personally like because it's very interesting. Now, we can see basically the activity I'm doing and how can I measure it, like, with metrics. That's why I have, for example, 80% confirmed guess. That is 5 out of 6. Well, 5 out of 6, it's 83%. So it needs to be higher than that so I can take on the project. And if that doesn't happen, for example, the last minute cancellations, etc. And the deliverables are very simple, like final guest list reviewed and approved, purchase approved for preparation. For example, with my friends, okay, so this is the list, chin, 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 acceptable ingredients. That's why I have on the metrics. Let's buy them. Very simple, like small quality checks, like the cleaning task, but that they could really help me measure how precise I'm doing this project. Like, how good am I cleaning? Because sometimes it happens that you just clean very simple and you end up with the fine or you end up breaking something because you didn't plan anything. For example, I like the setup, the grills and tools. I need a functionality checklist because in one of my risks, what happens if it breaks? What happens if the grill is old? No, I need to check this quality plan so in order that I can avoid the risk. That is actually very interesting how the quality plan can associate with the risk. Overall, this is my project. And I would thank you because it was a very interesting class. As you said, it was a workshop. Now, The PM tools helped me reduce uncertainty and basically kept everything organized. It was interesting because, as I've been saying these past days, everything needs to make sense. So we can see how from the WBS until the final end of the communication plan, quality plan, everything needs to make sense. Everything happens for a reason. For example, we make quality plans because we want to avoid the risk. The risk could happen because the clubhouse is not mine like that. It's not that of my control. It's not my home. It's very personal, and it's important to notice this type of stuff on project management. So that is basically my project. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing it myself for something personal. I think this way we are able to understand and visualize the projects better, and also like the task could be more smooth. And I'm talking from experience because I've done some barbecues before and they have been a disaster because I don't plan them correctly. For example, the wind is very real and it happens in my personal home in Cibata, so that is good to keep in mind. So thank you for watching. These are my friends. It's missing the sixth friend, Mariano, but imagine he's in the bathroom. And so for you to see that this could be a probable project that I could take. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it.